Well, people, the After Party season 2 is just about to finish, right? So, yeah, I am bringing you my thoughts on the series as a whole, but do not worry, I will not spoil the ending. Okay, so yes. Now, the After Party, right? It was created by Christopher Miller, Lord and Miller fame. Season 1 dropped in January 2022. That's last year, and oh my gosh, it was so frigging funny. So funny and great, enjoyable, right? It took the whole murder mystery genre and gave it a fun little twist. You know what I mean? We've all seen the whodunits and that kind of thing, but I think sometimes this stuff can get a little stale, So when someone brings a fresh take, that's golden, right? And this was a fresh take. Every episode had a different style, right? A different visual style. There was an animated one, like different tones. Just, yeah, there was a musical episode, which was, oh my God, that was so good. It was so good. Man, it was great, right? And the characters, you enjoyed the characters, you know? So when you then discover they're making a season 2, there's a part of me that was like, awesome. Yo, season 1 was so great, awesome. But then another part of you is like, ooh, how will this be though? Right? Is there, because when watching it, you could definitely think of how you could continue this story, right? And especially when you have people like Hercule Poirot, Benoit from Glass Onion, right? And we've seen how that was continued. So you can, you know what I mean? You've got these franchises built around a detective, Sherlock Holmes, Miss Marple, what I mean? There's so many. So you think, okay, we can take Danners and put her in a different setting, have her solve a different case, right? How will we do it? But it's like, it has to be good because the first was so fucking good, right? So this one has to be golden, right? Now we have 10 episodes. Episode 1 is called Aniq 2, the sequel. It is directed by Appel, written by Christopher Miller and Anthony King. Episode 2, Grace, directed by Valia, written by Rachel Smith. 3 is called Travis Miller, back, directing. Mike Rosolio writes. Episode 4 is Hannah. Valia is directing again. Nicole Delaney writing duties. Then we have Sebastian. That's episode 5. Valia is, back on directing duties. The Shipley brothers handle the writing. Danner's Fire is episode 6, directed by Tamra Davis, written by Anthony King and Christopher Miller. For episode 7, this one is called Ulysses, and it is directed by Peter Atencio. I think he was behind The Machine, right? I think so. Brenda Hsueh writes. Episode 8 is Feng, Appel, and the Shipley brothers. Episode 9 is Isabel, right? This one is directed by Miller, who also writes along with Anna Lockhart and Katie Miller. And episode 8, right, is Zoë and Vivian. And this one is directed by, oh, who directs this one again? Tamra Davis, and it is written by Christopher Miller and the Shipley brothers. So yes, that's all of that, right? Now, other people doing stuff. We've got Michael Cedar, Aubrey Davis Lee, Annie Colt, Nicole Delaney. They produce. Executive producing, we have got Christopher Miller, Phil Lord, and Anthony King. All right. Music is David Schwitzer and Daniel Pemberton. Ross Raig is on cinematography. Ivan Victor, Mauricia Muller, and Nick Olaf edit the piece. The casting, we've got Jenny McCarthy and Nicole Abelare. Art direction is Sita Legidrich. Set decoration is Kathleen Wood. Costume design, we've got Meredith Markworth Pollack. And the cast. Okay, so we have got, obviously, people, you know, our returning characters of Sam Richardson as Aniq Adege and Zoë Chao as Zoe Zhu, right? Detective Dana is back, played by Tiffany Haddish. Joining this time around, right, we've got Zoe's sister, who is Grace, played by Poppy Liu. Right, there is Zoe's dad, Feng Zhu, played by Ken Jeong, and her mum, Vivian Zhu, played by Vivian Wu. We have got Grace's husband, Edgar D. Minnows, played by Zack Woods. There is Zack's mother, Isabel Minnows, played by Elizabeth Perkins. We've got Zack's sister, adopted sister, Hannah, played by Anna Konkle. We have got Edgar's business partner, Sebastian R. Drapewood, played by Jack Whitehall. We've got a past love of Grace, played by called Travis Gladrise, played by Paul Walter Hauser. And Grace and Zoe's uncle, Ulysses, played by John Chow. Also, who else did we have? Oh, yes, Sebastian's cousins, Judson, played by Will Greenberg, and Jackson, played by John Gemberling, yes. There is Kyla, who is Feng's videographer, played by Zack Calderon. And then there is an aunt of Grace and Zoe called Jade, called Ruth, played by Jade Wu. Okay, now the gist of the story, it is okay. So okay, so what's it say here? The after party explores a different character's account of one fateful evening, all told through the lens of popular film genres and unique visual styles to match the storyteller's perspective. In season 2, a wedding is ruined when the groom is murdered and every guest is a suspect. Detective Dana returns to help Aniq and Zoe solve whodunit by questioning family members, star-crossed lovers, and business partners, and hearing each suspect's retelling of the weekend, each with their own unique perspective and visual style. So yes, that is how this one goes down, people. It's interesting, you know what I mean? Because like as I said, there's a lot to live up to, you know? It's a lot to live up to, and you're wondering, like, how is this gonna go, right? And I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, it's okay. It's okay. But I think I don't, well, I mean, all right, people, let's be honest. I didn't really enjoy it anywhere near as much as I enjoyed season 1, you know? Because I thought season 1 was so fresh and funny. Season 2, right? It starts off because, just look at the title, Aniq to the sequel. And so it's playing on the fact that, it's a continuation, kind of, right? And it's just like, oh my God, it's a sequel, right? But it's kind of meant to be like a slapstick comedy, right? That's the kind of vibe of that episode style of filming. But it just felt a little bit too forced in a lot of the things that go down, right? Because we've got Aniq meeting Zoe's mum and dad for the first time. So you know how that's then going to go, right? And I kind of feel it'd be better if it went a different direction, but everything plays into the things which you're expecting. You know what I mean? So that was the whole big thing with the first episode. Now, the way we have characters coming back in, the way Dana comes back in, that's not a bad way, right? All of that, I mean, okay, that works, that's fine. But you've got things like Edgar, he's got a pet lizard, right? That I mean, I've never met someone with a lizard like that. So it's just trying to be overly quirky, you know? Now, things get more interesting with episode 2, Grace. Now, here, everything is told as kind of like a Pride and Prejudiced style story, right? So I'm like, okay. Because as I said, season 1 we had different visual styles. Season 2, along with visual styles, right, we also get genre shifts. Now that's fun. That is very interesting to me. So it's like, oh, we're doing the whole Regency thing, which definitely works for the character of Grace and Edgar. That fits perfectly. So that was interesting. But that's then when we meet Travis, right? Who again, it's a buffoonery, a buffoonery, a buffoon? Well, yes, he's a buffoon, but over the top kind of character, you know? So there is that aspect to it, which kind of gets like as the story goes on, Travis just becomes irritating, you know? He does then get his own episode in episode 3, right? Which now we're a crime noir style, which is, it's fine, but it doesn't. I didn't really feel as crime noir, right? They hit some black and white, and but I don't know. It felt crime noir light. You know what I mean? That's the kind of, because he's just a buffoon. You know what I mean? He's just fucking. I hated Travis, man. Grr. Oh, dear, oh dear. Now episode 4, Hannah, that got different as well, because it's a Wes Anderson vibe, right? Which is interesting because we get genres, and it's interesting because I think as soon as you see it, you go, Wes Anderson, right? Which is like, when you think about it, how many I was going to say, how many directors have got a distinct visual style? A good few. It's just like, God damn you, stop it. Yes, no, a few directors have got distinct visual styles. Yes, they do. But I mean, Wes Anderson is so distinctively Wes Anderson. It's like you just have to see a little bit and you go, Wes Anderson. Like people like Michael Bay, there's signatures, like the flyover and everyone looking up and the circle around. Like there's certain things that Bay does, but you look at the certain set pieces which show you it's Bay, right? But Wes Anderson, just in every fabric of what you're seeing, you go, that's Wes Anderson. You know what I mean? Yes. So I thought that was interesting, and it also gives you this like a coming of age type thing. You know what I mean? Characters discovering who they really are, right? And it also throws a little kind of ooh, you know what I mean, into the story. So who you think might be the murderer? Episode 4 definitely puts the cat amongst the pigeons, as it were, people, as it were. Episode 5, we have Sebastian, right, which is like this one's kind of like a heist movie, but we get a horrible accent in this one. Oh my god, it's so fucking bad. But there's something that's going on with Sebastian that everyone knows but isn't called out, which is very bizarre. But you'd kind of think, hold on, Isn't that gonna fuck like, but no one calls it, which I don't understand. It was rather baffling, ain't gonna lie. Okay, so episode 6. Now, this is Dana's fire, and this one is like think 9.5 weeks, right? But there was a film, was it Naked Gun? I think it was Naked Gun, the sequel, that did the whole play on 9.5 weeks. And that's what Dana's fire is, right? It's 9.5 weeks, but you know what I mean? Played up. But you know what happened, like the whole story plot, you're like, I think I know who did this. But it's good. I did like that episode. That episode was fun. I mean, there's something with mustard, which I'm just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's not, yo. But yeah, the rest of it was interesting. And again, we do get some more kind of stuff with the story. So episode 7, Ulysses, again, this one really shakes things up, once more. And we get this big love story, right? That's what this is. This love revenge story. So that was interesting. And it, makes you look at certain characters in a very different way. Episode 8 is Feng, and this one, what did I say episode 8 was? Oh, yes. Episode 8 is like, it's the comedy, but it's that comedy of, the loser trying to win. That's what this one felt like, which was fine, but it definitely felt like that red herring, right? That was the big thing with that. Now we get to episode 9, Isabel, which this one is, what did I say? I can't remember what I said with this one. It's like, oh yes, it's like Psycho. Episode 9 is shot like Psycho. It's fine, but it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work because you know what's coming, right? Okay, we've got one more episode to go, so this can't be the thing, right? It definitely can't be the thing. So that was the only issue with episode 9. Episode 10 was fine, right? We it's the tie-up episode. So it is, you think House, right? At the very end, when they think there's something, and then at the last minute they realize it's something else. That's what this is, right? It's your big payoff. And it is like, it's fine, but I think there's still stuff that you're just like, but what about that? What about that? It was a little bit too neat to some extent, right? That was my thing with this. Now, I do think that the after party was on a lose-lose, right? Because, even if this was season 1, you might think it's better than what it is, you know? So it had that. It's just like it couldn't just be okay or good. It had to be awesome. And that's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult when you lock yourself into a formula, right? Which, we have here. And we've seen it with so many things. Like I mentioned House, right? House was fun. But then you realize, right, it's impossible case. No one's taking it until House does. Then you've got everyone bickering, bum, bum, bum. He thinks he's solved it. And then at the last minute, something goes wrong until he then realizes, actually, this is it. And then he wins, right? So it went like that for a few seasons until they were like, actually, let's have some people die. So then they did that. And then towards the very end, they tried to shift it up a bit more. But it was all very formulaic, right? When you look at stuff like, and I use this all the time, Highlander 1 was awesome. We won't even mention Highlander 2, right? Highlander 3 was Highlander 1, but just not as good. And I think that's what we get here. It's Highlander 1, but not so good. Right? Think season 2 of 24. When 24 hit, very unique. We hadn't seen that before. It was great. Season 2, it just kind of just felt like we were doing the same thing. And there was a lot of situations where it looked like it could have been solved there, but for whatever reason, it was just like, oh, actually, my toe hurts, so I'm not going to run and grab the guy. It's like, what are you talking about? Go get the motherfucker, right? It was that, So it was very like, huh? What are we doing, motherfuckers? So that's what I think with Afterparty. There was some interesting stuff. Like, what was it? It was episode 4 that we get some claymation kind of animation in that, which actually was a bit like Isle of Dogs, Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs, right? It was kind of reminiscent of that, which fits into the Wes Anderson thing too, right? So we get these, interesting kind of components. And I think another big thing about this, which was interesting, was when you're getting each character's retelling of events, we also, not just the genre changes and the visual style change, but the costumes change, right? There's in season 1, everyone's retelling what happened at Xavier's pad. So everyone's wearing exactly the same thing, and it's just, this different scene from this angle. But with here, it's not just retelling, the wedding. It's there's so much stuff that's there. So we get to see, as it's over the course of a weekend, we see different days and different, parts of the day rather than just this one kind of thing. But then we're also getting like this character's backstory and just all of this other stuff, which does differentiate things. But when we're getting retellings of the actual wedding, right, we have people in different clothes, right, which then does make you go, okay, that person said that this happened, or that person mentioned that, but that person didn't mention that. Who's telling the truth? Right? So then it's just up to you to go, actually, I like this character, or that character seems squirrely. I'm not sure I believe. So I think that's an interesting thing they've added, But yeah, it just doesn't quite doesn't quite mash to me. You know, it was fine. It was fine. And episode 10 does end in a way where you could go, okay, I can see how they could spin this off for a season 3. But I hope if they do season 3, we get a shift in the format, right? Just to bring spice back to it. You know, I think that would be very good. But yes, that's my take on Afterparty season 2, people. Now, what did you think? How did you think this fares to season 1? And who was your favorite character? Like me, did you find Travis irritating? Do you know what I mean? Who did you like? Let me know, people. All right? Peace.